Hi Gemini, this is your reading for February 2019. Thank you for joining. Please set aside anything you're doing so you're not multitasking and all of your attention is here with me for the reading. Relax your posture. Focus on your breathing for a few moments so that you can come into a calm center. And while I'm shuffling, check in with your higher self and your guides and ask them to reach out to me, to my higher self and to my guides so that we can create a feedback loop to get really clear and relevant messages that are especially for you. Alright Gemini, let's take a look. Must say, first impression on the spread is a really beautiful, positive feeling of imminent changes that you have invoked in recent times that will are bringing about very beneficial, very positive changes to your life. Changes in which you feel like you are very empowered and you're coming out of a state of, or coming out of a time of restriction and limitation and moving into a space that's much more free, much more liberated. But it's not about like not having any responsibilities, but rather the responsibilities that you have are ones that are things that you're very passionate about, things that you want to be doing. It's about moving into a space where your energy is being really channeled into things that are incredibly meaningful and really relevant to you, and that make you feel really alive. Okay, that was first impression. Let's get in there. Bottom of the deck, you have the Emperor in reverse. So I feel like this is a change where some of you might actually be changing location. You've got the Tower card here as well as the World card in reverse. Some of you might be actually moving house, changing to a new location. Some of you might be moving to a new country, I feel. Some of you are having some really major shifts going on here where there's some really big changes that are being invoked by you. And these are things that you've been working towards for some time, I feel. But I think that coming into this time of the year, this time of your life, there's some cycles that are actually opening up in the physical way in terms of things that you have been thinking about and processing and envisioning for quite some time. I feel like a lot of you are feeling pretty good at the moment. There's this Nine of Pentacles here at the heart of the reading, which is one of my favorite cards in the deck. I can relate. This is the card of the very independent person who's very secure, very confident, very powerful manifestor, very independent. Oftentimes, this person is single. This person has like a quality of abundance and luxury that's natural to them. So I feel like this is the space you're in right now, where you're kind of embodying a really confident state of being, where you are feeling really like channeling energy in a way that is really potent and very profound for you. I feel like a lot of you also may be really paying attention to your physical body and your physical health at this time. And that's also giving you a sense of confidence and strength. You have at the foundation of the reading the King of Swords, which could be your own card, the element of air there. I feel also this card is indicating that a lot of you are in a space of like alignment. Finally, it feels like some of you are coming into a real clear alignment at this time, where things have been, for some of you, things may have been rocky in the last few months, may have been a little bit emotionally turbulent or difficult in the home life. I feel like some of you are really coming into a space now where you're feeling very empowered, where you've been kind of digging deep into your emotional space and in your mental and physical spaces as well, to kind of really find this state of clarity and find this space of empowerment that you're in right now. And it's well deserved. You've worked very hard to get to this point. Now, the King of Swords at the foundation of the reading. There's also the King of Cups here in reverse, with the World card in reverse as well. And then in this quadrant you have the Star with the Knight of Cups in reverse. So these are interesting. These are interesting cards to have down here at the foundation of the reading. I feel that for some of you, as I said, for some of you, you could be moving location at this time. For others, I feel that there's kind of an interesting paradox here with the cards. The energies of these cards are kind of like, you have the star here, which is a very hopeful, very positive card. It's a card of optimism. It's a card of wish fulfillment, dreams coming true. But you have it with the Knight of Cups in the reverse. And Knight of Cups can also represent an offer or an opportunity. So it's a little bit confusing for me. It's hard to read because on one hand it's saying like you're feeling very positive and optimistic, but on the other hand it's saying there's an unfulfilling offer that you've received. So take that as you will. Hopefully that makes sense to somebody. And then in this quadrant you have the Knight of Cups in reverse with the World in reverse. I think that for some of you there is like a feeling here of, there is some relief. Like there's definitely some relief here with this feeling of a sense of coming into a kind of confidence at this time, coming into a clarity of mind. Yet there is still an understanding there that there's still quite a mountain ahead to climb. Like there is still this feeling of like emotional embodiment, emotional maturity, emotional wisdom and understanding that's still forming. I feel that's why the King of Cups is in reverse here. I think that even though you've reached a clarity of mind in your sense of self, and there's a feeling of well-being that comes with that, a feeling of confidence that comes with that, I think you also sense that there's still a lot of work to do. There's quite a ways to go still in your inner work, in your inner world, that your emotional well-being still needs a lot of nurturing and tending to. But that's okay. Like I think you understand that this is a journey for life. This is a long haul, and it's not like you have to have all the answers right now. It's like you're well on your way, and you've like, I think in recent times you've put into place some very consistent and disciplined practices and rituals that are really helping you feel this sense of clarity of mind and this groundedness and this sense of confidence. And that is in itself has been, I think, the catalyst and the trigger for you to kind of make these changes that are happening now. And that's what I was talking about earlier with this Wheel of Fortune here in the upright position as in the outcome with the Tower. I feel that this is describing that for some of you, you have initiated some major changes that you've been calling in some time ago. You know, in your dream space, in your thoughts, in your meditations, in terms of ideas that you've been feeding with thoughts to create some changes. And now this change is coming. Some of you are moving abroad. Some of you are changing job. Some of you may even be changing the status of your relationship. And for some of you, this experience could be for some of you, this is very much like in alignment with the invocations that you've made over the last few months. But for some of you, if you may be having this Tower moment where things are sort of unexpectedly changing around you, and you may be feeling a little bit shell-shocked by the shifts that are occurring. But it's important to understand that this Wheel of Fortune here is very clearly saying that the changes that you're experiencing are very much in alignment with the direction that your spirit is walking you in life, as far as there are things that need to be let go of. And that's what the Tower moment is saying here. The Tower is suggesting that there are things that you've been holding on to, maybe gripping onto, clutching onto for some time, and that the invocations that you've made to move forward in life, to change, to transition, to kind of embody new states of being, or rather embody the authentic you and let go of things that are not really serving that vibration. And that's what the Tower card is saying, is that there are things that cannot move forward with you into this next cycle of life. Whether those are behaviors or people or just ideas even. But sometimes the Tower can play out in a dramatic way. So some of you, if you're not, like, if you haven't been fully cognizant and lucid through this process that you've been in, where you've been invoking certain types of changes, you might find yourself in a little bit of a shocking, uncomfortable moment where things are kind of dramatically and suddenly changed and moved around for you. So some of these upper cards here, let's talk on those. You have the Four of Pentacles and the Four of Swords at the top of the reading. The Four of Swords is in reverse. That's again, there's like interesting kind of paradoxical energy in the reading where it's like two opposite things are true. Here I feel what this is saying is that the Four of Pentacles is like, you're kind of like, It's kind of feeling similar to this Nine of Pentacles, actually. The Four of Pentacles and Nine of Pentacles are having a similar feeling here, where it's like you are taking care of yourself. There's an element here of physical care. I feel some of you are really like paying close attention to your physical well-being and physical health and looking after that. That's really, really, really good. This Four of Pentacles, I feel like there's an element here of like consolidation. As I said, you had the Emperor at the bottom of the deck. He's also number 4. He's in reverse here. And if the Four of Swords as well is in reverse, I think that for some of you, you're coming out of like a time where things have felt like they were on hold. And now things are moving forward with this Wheel of Fortune. And with the Four of Pentacles here, there is, like, as I said, an element of being particularly aware of your physical well-being, your physical resources as well. I think this is a time where you're consolidating. The Sun is offering very optimistic and hopeful and happy energy to this process that you're in right now, where you may be, again, re-establishing like a new physical vibration, like your physical energy is being re-established in a way that like is it's almost like you've got to like pull back in order to kind of expand a little bit, and then you can move forward. I feel that that's what it is. It's almost like a shunting. And then, yeah, like, I mean, the character just standing out to me right now is the character's face in this card, like the expression on her face. It looks kind of stoic, a little bit serious, but I feel that there's like a, I don't know, it's a very practical feeling I'm getting from this card at the moment, where like you're in a process maybe of like packing or storing or just like counting and inventorying your resources, your property, your possessions. You know, maybe if some of you are moving, that could be what some of that is. But I feel, what is that? Anyway, let's have a look at the bottom of the deck. As I said, Emperor reverse, 5 of Wands, 6 of Cups, and the Page of Swords in reverse. Okay, for some of you, what I'm feeling here, this is a specific, I think, for some people who maybe this reading is about their relationship. There is something here about like a shift in a dynamic here, where there is like this feeling of coming from kind of this established family environment where there is a kind of sense of luxury and comfort and establishment and wholeness. And then from the 10 to the 9, so there could be something here about separation, which could also explain like why someone might be counting their resources or packing, or, you know, like a shift in a change of like coming out of a kind of quiet time and into a movement time of like things feeling different, or moving to another country. Could also explain what this Star and then the Knight of Cups in reverse is, that perhaps there is a loss of hope in some regard, of like with regard to an offer or promise once made. So if this is about a relationship for you, if this is a relationship reading, there is something here about even though there may have been a difficult time when there was some emotional turbulence, and there is still some changes happening, there's some like unforeseen shifts and events happening that may feel a little bit uncomfortable. There is something here that's being passed on with regard to, you know, because you have the Emperor reversed with the 5 of Wands, and then there's the 6 of Cups here and the Page of Swords. I feel that this is about like childish behavior in relationships, arguing for the sake of arguing, and just pressing a point in order to win an argument when it may not necessarily be important to do that. That's I think a specific message for someone. I feel that there is also here a need for some of you, if this is a relationship reading where we're looking at a separation here. I feel that for some of you, this is a really important time where you do need to withdraw. That's what this 4 of Pentacles is. You need to withdraw from your external interactions with people, like just minimal for a moment. This is not a long time, this is for a moment. There's a message here to withdraw from unnecessary and frivolous interactions with people and just be really focused on your own energy, on your own self, and really map out and address like where you put energy and why. This is a moment to kind of calibrate and like concentrate on what has been unconscious behavior in relating, as far as how you extend your physical and energetic body into your environment in ways that is trying to manipulate and control energy. Because you're being asked to look at that in a way that you just kind of like come back into this space of like a very centered and embodied and kind of sovereign, complete, independent, unique space. And then you can start to relearn how to send energy tendrils out into the world that feel a lot more clean and clear and untethered to any particular outcome, but are just like a loving, generous, kind, comfortable energy instead of a like hooks and tethers kind of energy. I hope that's clear. So yeah, these two cards are, I think, really important in the reading. This King of Swords at the foundation and the Knight of Pentacles. I think coming into a space of clarity of mind and understanding perhaps, you know, like what emotional work there is to do, like what emotional, you know, perhaps tidying up there is to do. And then coming to this clarity of mind where you feel like truth is actually being embodied. I think that's a really important point for you guys, Gemini. That's a really important point. Like, really come into a centered space of truth and honesty for clarity of mind and for understanding like exactly where you are and where the rest of the world is, how the world sees you and how you interact. And then I'm going to really speak about this Queen of Pentacles as the crossing card. I feel like for some of you, if this is a separation reading, this is a person. Your challenge is this person. Not that the person is necessarily the challenge or the problem, but you are challenged by this dynamic. I think that's very important and I want to make that very clear. It's not necessarily about this person being the problem. It's about you and your, as I said, like that. What I described earlier about your energy and needing to recoil and pull back for a while and consolidate your energy so that you can gain a better clarity on how it is that you may have been misusing your physical and energetic bodies to kind of manipulate space or like just control. It's a control thing. That's what the Emperor here is about. There's a bit of like a controlling, manipulative energy here that needs to be addressed, and there's this argumentative energy as well, along with the Page of Swords, which is also like unnecessarily talkative and maybe needs to kind of be right, but in an immature kind of a way. And the Six of Cups is kind of like, yeah, there's something familiar, like whatever this, if this is this is a relationship reading for you, this card is saying like there is like a really sweet, loving bond between you and a person, but there might be space at the moment, and in which case I think it's important not to rush in to kind of close that space up again just so you can feel like everything's okay. You really need to address these issues that we've spoken on already and actually do the inner work that it takes in order to really meet this person. Like, to be able to meet this person, there's some... And this person also does as well. Don't feel like I'm picking on you. I'm not picking on you. I'm just reading the reading here for you. Because there is this element here, like I was spoken on a couple of times here, of control, of binding, of restriction, of limitation. It goes in both ways. But I feel like some of this is like perhaps your energy and the way you maybe try to kind of, again, you know, dominate an energetic space. And that needs to be addressed. Okay, I feel like that's it for the general reading. Just check if there's anything else. Let's take a Voyager deck now and have another shuffle to look at your higher octave reading. As I'm shuffling, please send your energy into the deck so I can get really clear messages for you. If you haven't seen my readings before, the higher octave reading is designed to give further insight onto any spiritual or karmic lessons that are unfolding. so that we can better understand the energies that are available to us, so we can know how best to move forward with grace and how to make the most of the opportunities available to us. So send your energy over so I can get really clear messages for you. Okay. At the start of the reading, you have the Sage of Worlds in the reverse position, and he is crossed by the Child of Worlds. So I feel that this may feel like a little bit of an unsettling time for you. Things may not feel as grounded and as stable and as settled as you might like, but it's for a point. I think there's some important work going on here at the moment that is needing your attention in order to really clarify your situation and synthesize a lot of lessons, and in order for understanding to occur and to enable you to kind of come back to a centered space that you know, and for energy to come back together and coalesce in a way where things can feel a lot more peaceful. So let's see what else is here. Nine of Cups in reverse, but the Magician is here. I love to see the Magician card. And then here you have the Three of Wands in reverse and the Sage of Wands in reverse. So there's two Sage archetypes in the reading. Sage of Worlds is obviously the Pentacles, and then Sage of Wands. They're both in reverse though. I feel that there is like some really deep schooling going on for some of you at the moment, and some of you may not be able to see the forest for the trees at the time. You might feel a little bit like really off course, like what happened to your navigation kind of a thing. There is a purpose. There is a purpose to what's going on. There is definitely magic at play. There is an important kind of very deep school kind of process that's going on here, and a lot of it has to do with you kind of, perhaps addressing again this Emperor in reverse here in the previous reading, and here you have the Hierophant in reverse in this spread. Both are kind of similar feeling in the way that I'm seeing these as being energies of archetypes which are rather fixed and a little bit controlling, perhaps a little bit like there's a kind of element of my way or the highway kind of a philosophy, where it's like this person has a very domineering energy, and in both of these cards in the reverse position do feel a little bit like there's a tendency to want to control too much, and that has a tendency over time to push people away, is what I'm feeling here. There's like, again, these kind of feminine archetype cards here are like, and even these masculines too. There was a Man of Crystals there again, which you had in the foundation of the reading. So gender doesn't matter. It's more about like the energy of people. There's people here in the reading, and it feels like they're being kind of moved away. They're being pushed away, and it's you feel like they're leaving, but actually you're pushing them away by this kind of domineering, especially like this kind of argumentative energy where you kind of need to be right, and you'll debate and debate and debate till the end until you just win because the other person's tired of conversating with you because you just won't stop. There's a little bit of that here. There's also some here needing to address emotional like here you have the Six of Cups. Upright is called sorrow in this deck, and then here you have the Nine of Cups and in reverse, and this is called fulfillment. I think that there's some discontentedness, some unhappiness there, some emotional like things to kind of deal with that they're not being handled in the right way necessarily, and that may also be kind of adding to this feeling of like maybe there's like a feeling of rejection or loneliness for some of you. Again, this Nine of Cups kind of is relating back to this Nine of Pentacles that you have at the center of the reading here, where the message of the nines is to kind of attain a sense of self-sufficiency in your emotional well-being, so that there's like love is an upspring, is a wellspring. Like there's such an abundance of self-love that it pours out and over to in the way that like there's no need to kind of grasp onto other people to get an emotional sense of well-being. It's like an emotional self-sufficiency that is wanting to be mastered, and that needs your attention. Unconditional self-love in order to overcome insecurities. And fundamentally that's what these things are, like all these kind of control issues or domineering stuff, whatever. It's all really just comes back to being insecure and trying to impress a sense of authority or power over others because you're actually feeling insecure, and you may not even be aware of it, you know. But there is the opportunity here for a really big breakthrough. You know, while some of you may be having a bit of a difficult time, there is this energy here of like, it's not for nothing. That's what I keep getting. It's not for nothing. Even though if you're in a difficult time right now and you're like, it really, really fucking sucks, and you just wish like everything would be over and you'll feel better. There is this feeling of like there's information that is being synthesized by you on a kind of cellular level, in order to bring about a type of understanding, to embody a certain kind of like compassionate, loving energy that you may not actually be able to access or understand without having gone through something quite as particular as what it is that you're in right now. And yeah, you have synthesis and synergy in the reading. Both of these cards are kind of feeling like there is like a higher energy that is working with you to kind of create circumstances that are very particular, that are addressing very specific qualities and issues. I'm hearing red flags, but issues that need to be addressed that have been perhaps maybe you have been aware for some time, but you have maybe ignored the need to address these things, or it could be something that you just awakening to awareness now, and perhaps in this awakening through this specific situation, you're able to identify in the past where something similar has happened before, and you start to see a pattern form. So there is a chance here for a huge breakthrough with this experience that you're in, and there is magic at play. There is magic at play. There is energy working, and fundamentally this is kind of your spirit, your energy, your guides, your unconscious mind working very closely with you to help you channel energy in a specific way to kind of help you release some of that tension and restriction that has been spoken about in the previous reading, to help bring about a liberation from types of binding and types of like emotionally unsatisfying dynamics. You're breaking the code. You're breaking a pattern here. Let's have a look at the bottom of the deck. Two of Worlds reversed, the Chariot, Sage of Crystals reversed, another Sage, 3 Sages now in the reading, and then you have the Priestess in reverse. And there's the Lovers at the bottom. I'm going to take that as well. So there's the Lovers. There's also Justice here. I feel like that's also relevant. So what I feel is here is again like there's this indication here with these major arcana cards here that this is quite an important and fundamental lesson that you're going through. I heard healing crisis. So for some of you, this is again, it's a very perhaps uncomfortable time, and there is like you might even be dealing with some physical ailments, but it's important to remember that these are merely indications of energetic imprints or blockages or patterns that are needing to be released and addressed. Like your subconscious mind is kind of, because you haven't addressed certain things in the past, the subconscious mind directs the energy into the body relating to specifically which issue this is, in order for you to kind of actually see it in a very evident way. And then like here you have the Chariot, the Chariot with the High Priestess reversed, Two of Worlds reversed with the Sage of Crystals reversed, And then here's the Lovers and the Balance card. Balance in this deck is relating to the Justice card from the Rider-Waite. This is kind of feeling like there is something especially karmic with this person. If this is a romantic relationship we're talking about, or not, if it's whatever kind of relationship that may be feeling triggered at this time, that is bringing up all these issues for you, there is something here with that kind of feels a little bit like a karmic contract. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to stay with this person to complete the contract. It's not about them, it's about you. Whatever it is that you guys have both agreed to kind of come back to help each other resolve, there is no like binding kind of promise that you have to stay with that person forever. It's simply about like helping each other see something that you're unable to see on your own. So don't get attached to the idea of this relationship being, because I'm saying this is a karmic thing, don't be attached to the idea that this relationship is something that you need to strive for the rest of your life. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that there is something that you've agreed to come back to share with each other, to help each other see that there is some kind of like agreement there based on compassion and love from previous kind of sharing of time together. It doesn't mean forever. That's what the point I'm making. It doesn't mean forever. It's just like helping each other see something. And then having the Priestess here in reverse with this Sage of Crystals in reverse. And as I mentioned, you have three sages now in the reading. I'm going to hold them up so you can see. The sages in the court cards of this deck refer to a genderless, it's the energy of an individual or an archetype of someone who has mastered the element that they are embodying. So here you have the Sage of Wands, the Sage of what is it? Earths, Sage of Crystals, which is swords, Sage of Wands, and Sage of Worlds. Worlds is Pentacles, obviously. So seeing these three here in the reverse position, it kind of lends itself to the interpretation that there is this element here now where you might be going through something extremely tough, and it might really hurt, it might really be really arduous, but it's kind of an accelerated growth path is what I feel. Like it's like you're being like kind of really squeezed in order to kind of raise up your energy to kind of transcend some old stuff that's been really needing to be moved on and let go of for quite some time. But the time is now. It's not about like, oh, I should have done this. The time is now. You're just like you're being asked to really address these things at this time, and you may feel like it's really uncomfortable, but it's important, as I said, to understand that magic is at play. There are forces at work that are supporting and helping you. Now I wanted to address the Priestess here in reverse. I wanted to say that, so you have Priestess and Magician. Now the Magician is number 1 from the Major Arcana, and the Priestess is number 2. Now having the Priestess here in reverse, I do feel that there is, and also with the Sage of Crystals there in reverse, I do feel like there is something here again about honesty for you, and there was that in the previous reading as well. I do feel like there's an element here where you're hiding from the truth, and it's preventing you from making this breakthrough. The faster you address the truth and just get real and raw, the quicker you're going to be able to move through this experience and get a relief from the discomfort. So just really put all of your attention in, just go all in. Don't try to avoid anything, don't try to avoid discomfort, don't try to avoid the truth. And just work with the energy that's there. The quicker, as I said, the sooner you are able to be radically honest, the quicker you'll be able to move out of this space of discomfort, and you'll experience a huge sense of relief and of release. So really, really work with and strive to be radically honest at this time. I feel that that's it for your reading for this month, Gemini. I hope you found that helpful and insightful. Let me just check and make sure there's nothing else that I've missed. I think I've said everything that needs to be said, but do watch it again because there's a lot there. There is a few things I would repeat right now I've been watching my readings back, and I've been noticing that I've been a little bit repetitive, and it's kind of annoying, so I'm really striving to not do that. I'm just going to leave it there. You can watch the reading again if you want to like just go over some stuff. Thank you for watching. Thanks for your subscription. I really appreciate your time. It's an honor and a pleasure to read for you, and I look forward to seeing you in next month's readings.